refusing foreign aid that is being offered by various countries, including the United Arab Emirates, which has offered 700 crores for the rehabilitation of Kerala. Precedent has been cited. Since 2004, India has not accepted foreign aid for natural calamities, with the understanding that we are a nation that can take care of ourselves and our own in times of disaster. But should an exception be made looking at the scale of devastation in Kerala? And does it make sense to stand our ground on pride when it comes to foreign aid for Kerala? Speaking more on this is Pinak Chakrvarty. He's Distinguished Fellow at ORF and, of course, former ambassador. Thank you so much, Mr. Chakrvarty, for speaking with us here at Bloomberg Quint. Tell us first about this precedent from 2004. We've been reading about it everywhere. When and how did this start, and why has India since 2004 decided not to accept foreign aid for natural disasters?
I think it's a matter of pride and the fact that we had enough resources of our own to take care of our own disasters. I think it all began when the tsunami hit India and other countries, where we actually went out and helped other countries, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and many other countries. So I think from there on, there was this discussion in policy circles that if we can go and help out other people in disasters, where is the need for accepting foreign aid for such things? And if you go back in time a bit, in 2003, the Prime Minister Vajpayee's government actually decided that we will phase out foreign aid, from small countries, European countries mainly, who used to give us, somebody 30 million, 40 million, and their embassies here were sort of engaged in that kind of, disbursal of aid. So we only then chose to, at that time, the government chose to accept aid from only a few named sources, World Bank, IMF, USA, UK, France, and some other countries who were regular in the aid circuit. So I think it all began then, and then of course it has continued, and I think in 2016, let me add first that we didn't have any national policy or legislation on this issue. But in 2016, the Prime Minister Modi's government came out with a national disaster management plan, in which I think section 9.2 clearly states that the government may consider. So it has, the window is not closed, it remains open, and depends on the government of the day how to interpret it. It is indeed, I think the amount of resources required will be large. It's not that India cannot meet those demands of relief and rehabilitation. And also, let's not forget that these announcements that have been made have not been officially conveyed to the government of India. And I think we must also remember that we are not inflexible. I think the government will not be inflexible. And I think we have received relief material, I say, not cash, relief material from abroad, and of course cash contribution from NRIs and NGOs into the Prime Minister's relief fund. That has been the practice, but I don't think this issue needs to be kind of politicized. But then in India, everything gets politicized, so that's the sad part of it.
The ambassador of Thailand had tweeted out saying that they were unofficially told that India was not accepting foreign aid, and I think that was one clear message which came through. I want to understand from you, Mr. Chakravarty, what are the concerns beyond just pride, which seems to be one factor? Is there a concern that such kind of offers of help come with diplomatic heft on the side of the country offering the help, or with some strings attached? If you can just shine a light on that aspect.
Well, strings can be attached. It is not unknown that certain strings are attached. And in fact, when India phased out aid in 2003 from these small European countries and others, it is because of the strings that came attached with such aid. So that is a indisputable fact that strings are attached. Number two, I don't think that today India is in a position, in such a position that we need, aid from, 30 million, 40 million, that kind of small sums of money. The other thing, of course, is money that comes through NGOs and then even which goes to the state government is generally spent through the public agencies. And I don't have to tell you what is the reputation of public agencies in India. In fact, it is well known how much of the money will get siphoned off for, in other directions, into pockets, etc. So I think there is always that aspect that has to be kept in mind. So in my view, I think relief material would be a better option, that is in kind. I mean, how much of that will be siphoned off, one doesn't know, but it would be more difficult than cash. So I think that is the aspect that one has to keep in mind. And if any government wishes to, I think, contribute to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund, then I think they should officially approach the government. But I think what we have done, the spokesman of the MEA has simply reiterated a standing policy. It is not that this policy has been made yesterday by this government. I think this has been the standing policy for over 1.5 decades. So I think that is position at the moment. But if certain governments are serious about contributing, they should start, a conversation with the government in Delhi.
What the Kerala Chief Minister has said so far is that about 20,000 crore rupees would be required for rehabilitation, and they've made a distinction between relief and the task of rebuilding the state. I think relief is something which they would be closer to covering with the kind of outpouring and goods and materials as you mentioned. But the task of building a state once again, depending on the extent of devastation, that is somewhere where India could benefit from help monetarily or otherwise from its friends across the world, isn't it?
Well, I don't deny the fact that money is always useful, and in case of reconstruction, that indubitably will have to take place in Kerala, roads, etc., houses that have been washed away, and all kinds of things I don't even want to enumerate. Certainly the money would be useful, and that is why I'm saying that foreign governments who are interested, they should open negotiations with the government in Delhi so that this can be sorted out. I mean, the National Disaster Plan, as I have mentioned before, does not preclude the acceptance of foreign aid. But the standing policy has been that India does not appeal for aid since 2004. And India is generally reluctant to accept aid for the reasons that I have outlined earlier.
Okay. We'll see if an exception will be made in this case, or whether that window of opportunity does exist and will be utilized by the government as far as Kerala is concerned. Nothing hard and fast so far. Thank you so much, Pinak Chakrvarty, for speaking with us today.